So I'll create another class. I'll just call it statistics. And in that class we will basically collect the statistics. Now I will create, the first thing I will do is create static integer arrays. The first one will be collecting the wins, and I'll initialize it to 22 elements. We only need 21. Remember, we are capturing wins through 1 through 20, and in the element 21 we will capture all the losses that took more than 20 rounds. So this is not statistics, I want static. Okay, so and the index 0 we will ignore, because we will, there's no 0 wins. That's at least 1 win. So that's why we will use the index 1 through 22, or basically 20 rounds of winning, and the 21st element will hold every round after the 20th. So, and the same for the losses. So it's gonna be an array called losses, and I initialize it to 22 elements. All right, so I don't need any constructor here. I can do simply to set the statistics. So I will do public void set stats, and in it we will pass it the what we need to do, get the result of the game, whether it was won, lost, or whether it was won or lost, because that completes the game. The keep going, keep playing is still within the same game. So we are capturing winning and losses. So if the we will pass the status, and secondly we will also pass the what round of the game that status happened. So we will do round, in other words, how many rounds it took to finish the game. And I will do string result, and over here I will do, it's a simple if statement. If the result equals, I'll do win, and within it remember we are capturing the first 20 rounds to our indexes, and again every other game that was won after the 20th round will be simply passed into the 21st index. So if the round is less or equal to 20, that's our 20 rounds, then we will simply assign the wins of the index of round. Let's say we won the game on the third round, so we will add 1 plus 1 to the index of 3. So plus equals 1. Else we will simply assign everything to the index of 21. Plus equals 1. So this is for our wins. Else, well, it's actually else if, whatever. I mean, there's only else, or is either win or loses. So if the result equals lose, then, and it's the same way, we will check our round. We have to do this because if it was like a 20-second or something, we would get out of bounds. So that's why we are basically doing less or equal to 20, because we are only capturing the first 20. So losses of the round, and we will add 1 to it. So again, if we lost the game on the round 4, then we will do plus 1 to our index 4 of our losses array. Else we will pass it to our 21st index. plus equals 1. So this will set the statistics. Now we have to get the statistics first. So how are we going to pass them? Well, we have to go back to our roles, I'm sorry, to our crabs, and make a few changes. First of all, remember, we are supposed to play 1000 games, kind of automatically. So over here, when it says play game, I will add a loop, in a for loop, that we will play 1000 times. Now remember, we have 1000 stored in our constant, so we will do num games, but that basically says play 1000 times plus plus. And I will copy paste the whole code and paste it right into our for loop right there. So now to distinguish between the rounds, after each round I will do something like console.write line, just so I can see how many games I'm played, something like game number, and add I to it. Actually I plus 1, because we are starting from 0 here, remember. In this case it doesn't matter, we simply loop in 1000 times. We are not capturing anything in the indexes. So it will simply separate visually each output for each game. It will write out this line. Now when I come over here, I'm playing another game, so I will have to reset few things. So like the num of roles, I will have to reset to 1 again, and I will have to reset the game status to play more, because at this point the game status was set to win or lose, because the game is over by now. So game status that play more. So basically this prepares us for another game, and then we go to our game loop, to our while loop. Okay, so that's the reset, and now we can you know, get the statistics, which we will do in our evaluate roles. Over here, after I win, or after we set the point to 0, it's basically the game was won. We will go. Oh, I'm sorry. What we need to do, we need to create an object of statistics. So I'll come over here, and I will do private statistics. I'll just call it stats, and I'll instantiate it in the constructor to new statistics. And now I have access to the statistics, to the set stats. Okay, so I come over here, and actually over here, and I will call those set stats method. So our stats dot set stats, and I will pass. Remember, we are passing the how many rounds it was, and the result. So how many rounds it is? Well, that's the number of rolls. Remember, I told you we would be using that for the statistics. So that's what we're going to pass. We are going to pass the num rolls, and since this is a win, we will simply pass a string win. So now it comes over here to our statistics. It evaluates the round. This is true because our result is win. That's what we passed as a string, and it will simply set the statistics accordingly. And we will do the same for the losses, for the loss. So our stats dot set stats. We will pass the number of rows, except this time we will pass the lose. Now over here we don't do anything, because the game is not over. If we play more, we are only capturing the final result of the game, win or lose, not the body of the game when we still keep rolling. Okay, so The number of rolls, remember, we are increasing. The number of rolls equals 1. We're setting it to 1. And if we win on the first roll, then we will never get to this loop. However, if we don't win or lose in the first roll, then the number of rolls will be increased with every roll. Okay, so that's the set statistics, and at the end we could probably display the statistics. So I'll come over here. You know what, let me just do it over here so you can see it better. And it's going to be a public void display stats. Now we need to display the they're asking us the probability of winning the game of craps. So let's do the double probability and set it to 0 at the beginning, and we can do the double. We will also need the average length of the game. That's the next thing that they want us to do. What is the average length of a game? So I'll simply set average to 0. But first let me do the probability first. Okay, so our probability of winning, I will do another method for that. I will simply do public and it will return a double, and I'll call it probability of winning, and in it we will simply return, and the formula is very simple. We will return the wins, how many times we won, divided by the total games. So how many times we won? Well, we have everything stored in an array. An array has a method called sum. So this will simply give us the sum of all the values in that array. Now I'm going to also multiply it by 1.0 because everything is an integer. We would lose the decimal points. I want everything, you know, to have like a in a double format. So this is this gives us the sum of all wins, and the number of all games played is simply the wins sum in our case it's 1000, but if we change that value, then we will do all the games by summing up the values of both of the arrays, both for wins and both for losses. And this gives us the probability of winning, the sum of all wins divided by, which this basically is the total number of games played. So over here, when it says display stats, I'll come in and I'll simply do to display the probability of winning. So I will do something like our probability equals whatever is returned from the probability of winning. That will give us the actual number, the actual probability, and we can do console dot write line and something like chances of winning the game of craps are, and the value we are passing is the probability, of course. So probability, which is this. Now, since we are dealing with percentages, we can do a toString method and convert that to our percentage. Okay, so this is like I said, this is the probability of winning. It returns that, passes it to our variable, and we will output that variable in percentage format. We can maybe run that, but before we actually won't see anything, we have to first come to our craps game, And after the game is played, after all the games are played, in other words, after this loop is over, this loop, yep, then we will simply display the stats. So our stats that display stats. So over here we are setting the stats, and after all the games are played, we will display it. Now let me change the games to, let's say, 10, so we can track it better. So the number of games is only 10 for now. So let's see what we get. Okay, so here's our game number 1. Our point was 10, we lost, here we lost again, here we won on the first round, and so forth. Now at the end it says the chances of winning the game of craps are 40%. So let's see how many times we actually won. So this one we lost, so that's one win, 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins, which is 40% because we played 10 games. So that seems to be working fine. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to do the last point, which is what is the average length of a game of craps. Now, how would I explain that? Okay, let me run it again, and so we can see. These are all the rounds that it took. So basically you can see that you know, we won here, but it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, 6 rounds to actually win. Over here, you know, it took only 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and so forth. Over here it really won, but it took way more rounds. Yeah, we won all the games. That's interesting. Now we're done. We lost over here. Sorry, you rolled 7, you lose. But it says 100%. So something's wrong. I have to look at the formula and all that. All right. Well, let's see what I can do about the probability discrepancy. I'm going to put a breakpoint there and see what I can get over here. So if I go to step by step, my probability, it says that it's 66, so it should say 66% in the window. So let's see if that's gonna do it. Yeah, 66.67. So with this number it worked. Okay, let me see. Let me run it again. Let's see what I get. It's 0.5, so that would work as well. So I don't know why it said 100 before. This one would work. Oh yeah, I mean, it's the same number like before. There is something wrong. Okay, it must be somewhere over here with the way we're assigning the values. Now the play game goes right. This is the first round, but if you play more, we evaluate the roll, and we keep playing. Let me see that. Keep playing here. We got the sum correct. We got the game status correct. Oh, but after we win, okay, here's what is happening. When we win or lose on the first round, that's no problem because this loop never executes. However, if we don't win or lose, if we keep playing, we come over here to the keep playing method, and we set the game status to win after we match the point or lose if it's 7, but we don't set the statistics after that. In other words, we don't count this win into our statistics. So all we have to do is stats that set stats, and just like before, we will pass the number of rolls, and this is a winning. This is a winning status, so we do the win. And over here, when we lose, we'll count that to our losses. So our game status that I'm sorry, not game status, but our stats that set stats, and we will pass the number of rolls, of course, and this time we will pass the lose. Okay, so alright, let me run it again and see what I get. So I get 70%, in other words, I lost 3 games. So I lose this one, this one's win, this one's lose, that's the second one. And this is the third one. This one's win, there's win. And there's win, and there's win. So that's, I think, hopefully would take care of that. So now we only won 2 games, 20%. So let's see if that's correct. Let me find the winning one. So this is all. Here's one. The win. That's the game. Game 5. And we win game 7. That's the second one. And that's all. Yeah. So yeah, it seems to be working correctly now. Okay. So we have the probability of winning. Before we go to the average, they're asking us how many games are won on the first roll, second one roll. So we have to evaluate that. Now remember, over in our statistics, we have these arrays, and those are holding the values for each of those rounds. Round 1, round 2, and so forth. So in order for us to really get the values of how many games were won, we simply have to sum them up for each separate round. So again, we go to our display statistics, and now we have to simply loop through our I'll do it right here. So for our integer I equals 1, again, we remember we ignoring the index 0. I is less than or equal to the 21, and I plus plus. So now we can get the how many games were won on each round. So if the I equals 21, in other words, remember index 21 holds all the winnings after the 20th round. So we will simply do something like console dot right line, and round 20, 21 or more wins, and we will hold a number there. And the number that we are going to hold in it, let me just put it like that, is the wins. Remember, this is the wins array of the index of I. We're starting from index 1. So index 1 equals round 1, index 2 equals round 2. So we simply output in the value that is being held. Remember, we were increasing it by 1 each time we won the round 1. We increase the index 1 by 1. So that's for our winning, and for our losses, we go to else console dot right line round. We will hold the round number wins, and over here we will hold the actual winning number. So what we are going to pass over here is the first one. Just like in the over here, we will pass the wins with the index of I. That's the round, and actually the round is the round I. I'm sorry, round I is the round that we are capturing. It will simply say round 1 wins, and now it will put the value of how many wins are in index 1. Then we go to index 2, it will say round 2 wins, and it will output the value that is held in index 2 for the wins. And we will do exactly the same thing for the losses, but I'll do it as a separate loop. It's the same thing, except over here we will change this to our losses, and this too will be our losses. Except also this will say round 21 or more losses, and over here it will say losses as well. Okay, so let me run that, and now it should, at the end, over here we have all the games, and it will tell you, okay, round 1 wins, we won 3 times on round 1. Round 2 we won once. So altogether we won 4 games. So our statistics will say we have 40%, which is true. Now we lost the games over here. Round 1 losses 3 times. Right on the first round we lost 3 times. Second round once. And so that's wait a minute, that's 4. That should be oh, that's a 2 over here. Number 4 losses. Around 4 losses we lost twice. So if you count it together, then we get 3, 4, 6, and 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. So we played 10 games, that's correct, and we won 4 of them, which is 40%. So that is correct. Alright, so we have that. That's basically our A and B. How many were won, how many were lost on each round. We have the winning chances, and now the average length of a game of craps. Now remember, let me just do it here. We have a round 1, and let's say we won twice, and we lost once on round 1. Alright? Now we go to round 2. Let's say we didn't win any on round 2, but we lost 1. And let's say round 3, we won once, and we lost twice. Alright? So altogether we played 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So how do you calculate the average length of the game? How many rounds did we play on average? Now we played the way to do it, we will simply add these 2 numbers together, 2 and 1. So that would be 3 multiplied by the round number. So in this case it would be 1. Over here we will multiply 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. We will multiply it by the round number, which is 2. And finally we would add these together, which is 3 multiplied by the round number, which is 3. So if you add all these together, you get 3, so that equals 3, this equals obviously 2, and this equals 9. Oops. So altogether, if you add these together, you get 5, that's 14, and to get the average, we will simply divide it by the number of games, which is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically the number of would be 2. So that's the average round. Now let's say if we put 2 over here, that we won on round 3 twice, now the number of games increases obviously. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8, and also over here this is 4 now. So we will multiply 4 times 3, that would equals 12. So together, now we have the 12, 14, and 3 is 17, divided by number of games, which is 8. So now we get the 17 divided by 8, 2.125. That's what that's the average length of a game. That many rounds on average each game has. Alright, so this is the this is how you calculate the average. So now let's put it into a code, and let me do into our stats right here. Well, let me do it right here actually. I will do a function double. I'll call it average length. So I will declare a variable the average and set it to 0, and I will do an integer of sum of rounds. This will be the total number of rounds. Now the formula itself has to be in a loop, because we are going to loop through wins and losses of the arrays. So integer I equals 1, I is less or equal to 21, and I plus plus. And within this we will add to our sum of rounds, we will calculate the total sum of rounds by adding for each iteration the value of the wins and the losses multiplied by the round. Remember how we did it? That over here we got the total number multiplied by the number of the round number. This is the second column over here. That's the round numbers. So we will simply go and do wins I multiplied by the round, which is I, that's the index, and we will add to it our losses I multiplied by I. So this will give us the total number of rounds. So now the average itself, and we will be adding it with each iteration over here. Now again, this is, if there's too many games after the 20th round, this will not be exact, because we are simply not capturing 22nd round or 23rd round. We will simply capturing as 20 plus, basically. But I don't think there is too many of in those. Usually the game ends before, so this is as close as it gets, I guess, for now, since we are not capturing, like I said, all the rounds that may happen. We are capturing up to 20 rounds. So anyway, the average now equals to the sum of rounds, but I have to multiply it by 1.0 sum of rounds, just like before, in order to keep the decimal places, because all these are integers, and we would all these integer operations would give us an integer, even though average is this declared as a double. It would simply truncatinate it, and we would only get the integers. So that's the sum of rounds, and what we are going to divide it by the total games, and the total games played is wins that, just like we did before, the sum plus losses dot sum, and at the end we will simply return average. Alright, so these give us all the rounds within each game, whether we won or lost. But over here, we also divide it by the total number of games. So if you played 27 rounds within 10 games, then the average round would be 2.7 for a game. Okay, so now we have that, and we can come over to our display, and we can simply display the, call the function and display the average. So over here I have the average variable, so over here I can do the average equals whatever is returned from the average length function. And now I will simply display the result. So it will say average length of the game of craps is, and we'll put it into a number, a placeholder, and what we are passing into that placeholder is going to be obviously the average, but I'm going to put it to string, so because I just gonna keep it in I don't know, 3 decimal places. Okay, so let me run it again, and at the end now I should have, okay, the average length of the game of craps is 2.6. so let's see if it's true. So 1 times 3 is 3. There's, well, we only won 3 games, so let me see if first I get 30% chance of winning. That's correct. So 1 times 3 is 3. Alright, so now we come to our losses. We add 1 times 2 is 2, so 3 plus 2 is 5. Then over here we add 3, that's 8. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16. And 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 16 is 26. So if I go and do 26 divided by 10, I don't have to do a calculator with that, it's 2.6, which is precisely what we get. Average length of game is 2.6. Alright, so before we go, remember the game should 1,000 times. So let's change that to 1,000, the number of games. And now we get all the games rolled right here. Keep rolling, and here we have our game 1,000. Here our game 999, and so forth. And you can see that we won 300 times on our first round, and so forth. We didn't go past 16th round. The losses, we lost 218 times on the first round. And but we got one round 21 or more, so it could be, you know, round 21 or 22, 23, could be 100, whatever. So yeah, the chances of winning for this would be 49.9, which we can actually calculate. Let me see. Basically what we have to do is simply add those numbers. So it's 300 plus 66 plus 36 plus 29 plus 25 plus 13 plus 9 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1. So it's 499 out of 1,000. So it's 49.9, which is correct. Alright, so yeah, this is the game of craps with all the statistics. This video is a little longer, but you know, there was quite a bit going on here. So let me quickly recap. We started with our roles class. We declared a property for die 1, die 2, and simply assign random number 1 through 6 and return the sum. Over here we have the enumerations for our you know, for some of the values for the winning and for losing numbers, and we have the win or lose or play more. And we have a bunch of other, you know, we declare the roles object, we instantiate that, and the first thing we do, you know, after we instantiate everything in our constructor, we have the play game. Now the play game itself plays 1,000 times, or the number of games. We can change that easily. We have a separator for each game, just for the visual, and we have our game loop. Within this game loop, this portion, this highlighted portion, is displaying the first round. It basically comes over here and evaluates the roll, whether it's the winning roll 7 or 11, or the lost, which is these 3 cases. If it's neither, then it returns, it sets the point to the current value that we just rolled, and we keep playing more. However, if we won or lose, we set the status of the game status to win or lose. So if we come over here, this is not going to be executed if we won or lose. This is going to be only the loop that is being played within each round, or after we did not win or lose after the first round. So we loop through that and display the status again and again until we get the win or lose. Once we have a winning or losing, we add the win and loss into our statistics for the further processing. And when we come to our statistics, we over here we started with this. We got the set statistics. Basically, we will set the wins or losses into our arrays, depending based on the round or how many rounds it took to win or lose. That index will be increased by 1. With that, we could calculate the probability of winning with simply adding all the values within the array divided by the total number of games, which is the wins, all the wins and all the losses. We will display that over here, but before that we are displaying the statistics for each individual round. How many rounds it took, or how many times we won on the first round, how many times we won on the second, and so forth. And the same for the losses, how many times we lost the first round or how many times we lost the second round. Now we also calculate the average by having an average length function, which simply comes and it loops through the array. Both arrays have 21 elements. We're ignoring the element 0, and we will simply sum all the values which give us the all the rounds that were played within all those 1,000 games. So over here we come and we divided that total number of rounds divided by total number of games, and that gives us the average for the for each game. What is the average length of the game? So that was over here we have just a main, and all we do is call the play game method, which from that is the starting point, and everything kind of branches out. So I hope this helped you. I hope it showed you, maybe a few tricks. And yeah, if you had trouble with that before, hopefully now things are a little clearer. I hope they're not worse than they were before, that they didn't make it more confusing than you already were. But in any case, just keep practicing and keep watching my videos. If you like this, please like it. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And I will see you next time. Take care.